Good evening, everybody. It is September 28th, Thursday night. It has been 1 week since I started spotting in about 7.5 weeks pregnant. If you watched my other videos, then you know that we did end up losing the baby. I'm doing better now a week in than I thought that I was going to. Of course, we didn't get it confirmed until Monday, so it hasn't actually been a week since we knew for sure. Still having moments where I get really emotional, or I get teary-eyed, or I just get frustrated for no reason. And that's all normal grieving process. And I think the reason that I'm doing better than I thought is because I have experience in the grief process and dealing with grief. So for those of you who don't know me, which is almost everybody watching this video, I've been serving in the U.S. Army for the last 19 years as a mortuary affairs specialist. So my job is to process, tentatively identify, and return home soldiers that are killed overseas to their families. And that's just one aspect of what I do, but I've worked with a lot of grieving people, the chain of command or best friends or battle buddies of these servicemen and women that have died overseas, not always killed in action, self-inflicted wounds, natural causes, things like that. So I'm familiar with grief, I'm familiar with the stages of grief, I'm familiar how they present themselves, and I'm aware of what to look for in myself. I found that that's been an asset over the last few days because I can recognize when I'm displaying symptoms and I can stop and take a breath. I was talking to my husband and I said to him, people are going on about their lives. They don't know that I've had this earth-shattering event. And I stop and I talk to people and they're complaining about this and that, which is not important or relevant or actually a big deal in the grand scheme of things. And I only think that because I've just had this traumatic event happen to me. And sometimes I start to get frustrated with them or short with them, and it presents as a disrespect or an attitude. And so I have to stop myself and say, they don't know. It's not their fault. It's not my fault. I just have to recognize when I'm starting to get some of those feelings and I need to take a breath. And I think it's been very helpful to me to be able to recognize those things immediately so that I'm not going down a rabbit hole that I can't escape from. And I feel like a lot of people who maybe haven't dealt with a lot of grief in their life or personal tragedy just don't have that personal experience to be able to handle those kind of things. So I wanted to just kind of put this out in the universe and let you know that those feelings of being overwhelmed, of sadness, of frustration, anger, disappointment, those are all normal. Those are all normal feelings, and you should experience those, and you should let yourself experience those. You shouldn't wall yourself off from your emotions, and you shouldn't be emotionless. You should experience those. You should talk to people, and you shouldn't be ashamed. I have talked to several people that I've come across in the last few days, and some of them will ask me how the pregnancy is going, and I've been very upfront with them that I experienced a miscarriage this weekend. And a lot of people don't know what to say, and the reason they don't know what to say is because people don't talk about it. People don't say, hey, this happened to me, and this is what I'm going through. Not only is it helpful for the person that's grieving, but it's helpful for the person that they're talking to so they can also build those skills to help. And so I want us to be a society that is not so close-minded in showing emotion or faulting people who show emotion. Now, obviously, there's an appropriate time and an appropriate place for emotions. And in my corner of the world, in the military, there are some places that you can't afford to do that. But there's always an appropriate time and a place afterward. So you can always go back afterwards and have your moment or allow yourself to have those feelings. So just know that it's normal. Just know that there's other people experiencing what you're experiencing. And just know that even though we all, as women who have had miscarriages, we've all experienced them in different ways. Some of us grieve more than others. Doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you. And that's what's important. My OB said to me on Monday, he looked me right in the eye and he said, "There's nothing wrong with you. You didn't do this." Now, I'm 37 years old. I've been around the medical field for a long time. I know about genetics. I know about the science behind miscarriages. So I'm mature and informed enough to know that it wasn't my fault, that I didn't do anything to cause this miscarriage, that there was obviously something wrong with the fetus, and what I like to say is your body knows best, right? That's not my fault. It's nobody's fault. I think when you're younger and you experience this, if no one tells you that, it's very easy to get wrapped up in that never-ending cycle of guilt. And could I have done something, or should I have not done this, or should I have not done that, or maybe I shouldn't have gone for a run, or maybe I shouldn't have cleaned the house or gone up the stairs or whatever. Look, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. But if we talk about it and we talk to other people about it, we all can learn these coping skills. So I hope that you can get some information out of this video. I'm in no way licensed or a therapist, but I do have experience in grief and I do have experience in these things. So hopefully you can know, if you are experiencing it now or have just recently had a miscarriage like myself, that there are other people out there that know what you're going through, and there is another side to this. There is a brighter outcome, and just like my husband and I, we are going to try again, and we're going to try again fairly quickly. We're not going to let this keep us from having what we want. So I hope you guys have a good night. Please let me know if you have any questions. Please reach out with your stories, and I look forward to getting to know you. Have a good night.